guys? It's Drew from the Money Is Show, and today we have a unique guest, not just a business owner. You guys know we interview those guys all the time, but today it's not just a business owner, it's also a professional baseball player. And if you know anything about me, I freaking love baseball because if Coach would have put me in, I for sure would have made it. So I'm going to get to live through Taylor Cole today. Taylor Cole's our guest today. He owns Strut Academy. He's a founder of Strut Academy, which is a baseball training program, as well as a professional baseball player that's played 7 years for the Toronto Blue Jays, as well as 3 years for the Los Angeles Lakers with your main guy, Mike Trout, Albert Pujols. There's some real studs on that team right there. So we're going to interview today Taylor Cole about the secrets of success, how to get through failure, and how to go from a dream to a reality when you have these crazy, crazy big dreams like becoming a Major League Baseball player. So today on the show, you guys welcome Taylor Cole. Taylor, thanks for being on the show, man.
Appreciate it, man. I appreciate the tips you were giving me earlier today, too, showing me the change-up and all that.
Yeah, well, it's just I didn't want you to go out there, and not know what I know about pitching. You know what I mean? Like, there's some freaking gold.
Absolutely.
Some gold, dude. The knuckle curve, you should bring it back.
Oh.
Yeah, I mean, that's a money pitch, dude.
It's coming. It'll be there.
It will not be there at all. No, that will be it's a straight home run derby ball is what that will be. But Taylor, so you live in Las Vegas right now.
Yeah.
And help me out here, man. Do you pronounce that? I got guys on both sides. Do you pronounce it Nevada?
Nevada.
Yeah. Nevada, not Nevada.
Yeah.
Nevada.
Yep.
Hopefully I get that right all day today here with you. But from Las Vegas, and that's where you live at right now with your wife?
Correct.
Married, no kids?
Married, no kids.
Okay. And 31 years old, Major League Baseball player.
Correct.
I want to take a step back. Let's go back to childhood. Okay. When did you first start playing that you can remember playing baseball?
That I can remember. Little League, man.
Little League?
Little League. I would say I was born in California.
Okay.
And then we moved to Vegas when I was pretty young.
Okay.
And I remember vaguely playing like in the All-Stars for like this Little League in California.
Okay.
And then, just obviously, I remember most of, the teams I played on, in Las Vegas ever since then. But yeah, I mean, it's just been a part of who I am from a young age, man. It's just like we're a baseball family, we're a sports family.
Did you, at even a younger age, Little League's like whatever, 10, 11, 12-year-old, at a younger age, did you play T-ball and stuff like that?
Yeah.
You did play it?
Yeah.
Just not quite obviously remembering all the things in T-ball, but you can really remember starting really big in Little League where it really kicked off for you?
Yeah, I would say so. Yeah, we joke, we were watching home videos probably, 10 years ago, and there was a play at the plate. This was like when when we were still in California.
Okay.
And I was probably 8 years old.
Mm-hmm.
Like probably seven or six.
Okay.
I think it was 6. And I come and I don't slide at home.
Yeah.
And the umpire calls me out, even though I was safe by a mile.
Uh-huh.
And my dad comes, and he's gonna get on me about this, but he comes from he's coaching third base.
Okay.
And he chews out the high school umpire.
The high school student.
High school student throws him out of the game.
Coach,
mind you, this is when I'm like 6, 7.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you what, man, there's a similarity. Like there's a similarity between all the people, like not all of them, but like a lot of the players.
Uh-huh.
Like they all have like, at times crazy parents that can be really into it,
Yeah.
and really, really involved parents. I mean, and I don't say that lightly, actually. A lot of the players that I've seen make it to the major leagues, like their parents are just all into it. I'm not saying parents, I'm not justifying the fact that you should be kicked out by a high school player, but yeah.
That is a unique fact that you bring up there, though, because like I haven't thought about that before. Like your parents were, but you just made a statement that most, like when you're on the road traveling, Major League Baseball players, you guys are just all sitting around talking stories and whatnot.
Yeah.
Most of their parents were
them.
Highly involved with them.
And a lot of them were like over the top.
Yeah, really.
Like to the point where you're like, come on, that like,
There's no way that happened. You're like, no, I lived through that.
No, like, yeah.
That's crazy.
And
I haven't thought about that.
It's just, I don't know what it is. But if you think about a lot of you think of Tiger Woods' father,
Yeah.
you think, a lot of these parents are just super into it, right?
Mm-hmm.
It becomes like who they are as well.
Yeah.
And, it's not always healthy, don't get me wrong, but I mean, it's just, it is what it is. I mean, I'm blessed, man. I'm blessed. My parents were and are, amazing, and I couldn't have asked for better parents that they gave me a lot of opportunities, what I mean? And so.
You say you come from a sports family. Yeah. You got brothers, sisters?
I do, 2 brothers.
Older, younger?
Two younger brothers and an older sister. They all live in Utah here.
2 younger brothers, 1 older sister. All play sports? Growing up?
Yeah. My 2 younger brothers.
Okay.
One of them, Peyton, still plays for BYU.
Okay.
And then Cameron played for Slick and played at Reno a little bit. And my sister, she did some softball and cheered, but she's more of a girly girl.
Okay.
Yeah.
And she's your older sister.
She's my older sister.
Older
Yeah.
sister. And then, so your 2 younger brothers, one of them is currently still playing ball.
Correct.
Over at BYU right now.
Correct.
Followed your footsteps in pitcher.
But he's actually two-way.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
So he plays pitcher and then also plays in the field.
Exactly.
Periodically as well.
Yeah, it doesn't happen very often. So I
Yeah,
think he's been
he's
watching
the-
a lot of Angel games lately.
Yeah, but I
with
say he's
Shohei.
the Shohei, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So, all right. So you grow up, you get Little League. Tell me this, man. When you were in Little League, like I remember playing Little League, right? When you were in Little League, did you find yourself just like naturally better than all of the players on the field, or did you feel like you're all about the same level in Little League?
Honestly, I would say from a young age, I excelled. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? I was always, it was always kind of just a part of who I was. Like I was always a little better from a young age than most of the kids
Sure.
at least.
Sure.
And you know, that probably happened, you know, up until it kind of through high school. I was, you know, one of the better players as well. And then, you know, as you get to college and you really get into the pro, you know, ranks, that's where you start to realize, like, you know, everybody's was their best player from their hometown or
exactly,
from
sure.
their team. And, you know, we all have these egos, you
Yeah.
know, where we want to be the best, or we've been told, like, if your family's, if this is a family affair, you know, you've been told, like, you're the best, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? And so sometimes, you know, that's a hard dynamic to get through mentally, is like, hey, like, I got to keep grinding. I got to keep figuring out, like, how I can separate myself even when you're with the best of the best. you
Right.
know?
Yeah, because once you get to that point, college to a certain degree, of course, but then for sure in Major League, dude, you're only playing with not just the best of the All-Stars. Like, you're playing with the best of the state of
That's right.
All-Stars of Little League. Like I'm saying, from all the way up, like you are in the top echelon of that sport program.
Yeah.
Therefore, whatever talent you had, because I figured that would be the case. Like I remember playing Little League, and I was in the group that was, you know, in the better collection that was in the All-Star games. You know, we
Yep.
get, you know, that they selected us, you know, whatever. I'd be in all those and stuff. But I was more or less like on the same level with everybody, like at that All-Star level. But I played with some guys that went on to play pro ball. And dude, they were for sure a difference. Like
Yeah.
when they played, it's like, wow, they were just like, and I would be mad because I couldn't do what they were
Sure.
doing.
Yeah.
And I'd be the dude in the batting cages for like 3.5
Yeah.
hours, and then I'd just walk them, like get out of a swimming pool,
Yeah.
party all day, not party like party, but you know, with
Yeah.
friends and stuff, hanging out in a swimming pool, come over and like completely destroy us in a baseball game.
Oh, yeah.
So frustrating to me.
That mindset, we all get into it.
Uh-huh.
And I've got into it a lot, like, especially coming up through the minor leagues, because you're competing, you're trying to get to the major
Yeah.
leagues, you know, and that mindset of like, hey, I've done everything I can, why not me, or, you know, and it's just so easy to get in that
Yeah.
mindset. But, you know, I've always found, man, like, the more I can just, you know, focus on being my best self. It sounds cliche,
Oh, it's
but
the
it
truth.
frees me up. I remember one time, like, I had a catcher. This was actually, I shouldn't admit this, but like, even within the last few years, like, you know, you looking at the stats, you know,
Right.
when I'm in AAA, like
course.
when I was sent down or whatever, looking at stats, like, and I had a catcher, actually his name is Destin Gardner. He's the one that caught the no-hitter that we threw. And he said, Taylor, don't do it, man, don't do it. I said, what do you mean? He goes, it's a bad road to go down. And I'm not that guy. I'm not that guy that wishes ill on other people. But at the same time, like, you can try to, you know, control things that are out of your control.
Right.
And he said, looking at the stats of maybe the major league team, hoping somebody to, like, they got to get all that stuff out of your mind and just focus on the things that you can control. So, anyways, I when I'm good, I do that. When I'm not, it's not as good.
Yeah, man, you got to control the controllables and
That's
let
right.
everything else go, man.
That's right.
But that's way, way, way easier said than done.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Especially when you're a competitor and you're always trying to win and compete in everything you do. I'm going to go back for a second. Let's talk about this idea that, you know, you go from a dream to maybe this next step is like this vision and then actual reality. And what I mean by that is, like, you know, I remember again, growing up, like, you know, I had this dream of being a Major League Baseball player, like many, you know, kids do have. But somewhere along the line, it goes from just like this random dream for you to more like a vision in the sense of, man, where you're starting to say, like, I think I could actually have a shot at this. Like,
Sure.
I could maybe actually go do this thing. And it's more of a vision. You start seeing yourself in college and then in the majors, and then you hit the reality of, like, boom, you sign that contract.
Yeah.
I want to kind of walk through that because I think there's a lot of lessons to learn in there for business owners as well. Because business owners that are watching, real estate investors that are watching, they kind of have this, like, vision of, like, man, I want to go do this. They had this dream of, I want to go do this business. And then it goes from like this dream to like they're trying to start the business and get it going, and then it becomes boom, reality. They have a business to get checks in, right? Let's walk through that for a little bit. When you go from a dream of like you're a little league running around, you know, playing baseball, having fun, to maybe that like upper high school travel ball, et cetera, where you're like, dude, I think I could do this, and it becomes more of a vision. What are some of the things that you look back on and say these are things that help go from a dream to a vision, and then some of the things that I had to go do and characteristics to make that go that route first. So let's go from dream to vision, and then we'll go from vision to reality.
I mean, if you were to ask a Little League team, I just did a camp last weekend, and if you were to ask everybody in that camp, what do you want to be when you grow older, grow up? The majority of them would say, I want to be a Major League Baseball player.
Yeah, immediately, right?
Like that's their dream. So
Right.
they believe it at that point, right?
Okay.
Even though it seems like such a far, so you have this idea, and some of them, not all those guys have a ton of talent. You know,
Sure.
it's just inevitable
Yeah, that's how it
numbers.
works,
And so, but they still think, well, I can get there. So we have this thing, and then all of a sudden, like maybe society teaches us, or reality sometimes, that hey, it's probably going to be a little bit harder. And you know, for me, like I was telling you, I had a lot of success as a youth and going through high school. So my dream really never faded there.
Okay.
And then I decided to go on a 2-year mission for my church. And even then, the dream was like, hey, I'm still gonna make it. Like a lot of people think, no, if it happens, I was like, I'm gonna make it. Like, it's who I am. It's part of like what I felt is like my calling. And so, I actually never wavered in my belief that I would make it to the major leagues, except when I was going through the minor leagues and I was 27 years old, and 26, 27, and I had never been to AAA because I had been dealing with some injuries, some shoulder injuries. It's the same one that's, you know, we talked about earlier. But what happened is that I just couldn't throw even a ball like 50% even without it hurting, you know, and I was like, surgery at 27 is going to be a death wish, you know what I mean? I remember calling my parents, my wife, saying, hey, like, this may not happen. Like, I thought it always was going to happen. It may not happen. And I remember feeling like, are you guys going to be okay with that? You know, and they all reassured me, yeah, of course, we love you. You know, you know, we're not in this for anything. Like, we just love you. And so I'm not going to lie to you and say that I never doubted, because at that point I did doubt whether or not like it was in God's plan for that to happen. And at that point I kind of just was like, hey, I'm just going to going back to focusing on working hard, being the best I can be. And what happened is once I kind of let go of the fact that like I was in control and just, hey, whatever's going to happen, but I'm going to control the things I can. Like some cool things happened. My shoulder got healthier. I got called up to AAA. I threw like 7 no-hit innings in AAA out of the pen. Yeah. And I get a call because the major league team went like into 12, 14 innings, you know, so they need pitching. And so Meacham, my manager, called and said, hey, the big league team wants to call you up, man. Wow. You're gonna be a big leaguer. And it all happened like within like 2-3 months, where I was calling my family and to being in the major leagues. So I always believed, but there was that one time when it was like I really just needed to just rely on whatever God's will was. So
you think a lot of what happens between, as this journey goes, for those that are even in business right now, tying now business into sports world, when they're in that moment of thinking, man, I got to go start this business, I need to go do this business, I need to go do this investments, real estate, whatever it may be, you think a big piece of it is just always freaking believing that you can go do this?
I don't think anything happens without believing.
That's true.
That's
true, man.
Like you got to have faith.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's 100% true.
Like you're not going to get into shape unless you believe that. Like sometimes you like somebody that wants to be in better shape, let's just say, you know, you might not believe that working, but like, if you're just like, hey, you know what, I'm going to go try it. I'm going to exercise that faith, as they say, you know, and then you learn after the fact. But yeah, I mean, if we relate it to business, man, what I would say is, you know, it's like sometimes in that final hour that the good stuff comes, you know what I mean? And then we talk about the grinding. We don't need to be grinding forever. Like sometimes it's okay to be in a state where we have good systems and processes, but there may be that need to have that process. And sometimes that big breakthrough doesn't come until like the final hour. You know what I mean? It's like, man, I'm ready to give up now. Just keep pushing through a little bit, you know, and like you're so close.
Yeah, I love that meme that is all over Facebook. I've seen it 1,000 times, but it's like it used a lot in business or investing. They talk about it's like this guy digging in a trench.
I love that.
And with a pick.
The gold is right there,
and
right?
The gold is like, you know, one more swing away.
Yeah, he's walking the other way.
He walks the other way.
Yeah.
And you know, inside of it, and it's so true, man. That you grind and you got to put that time and effort into it to get to that point. And then once there comes a point where almost you feel like, dude, there's no way. This is like I'm in a no-win situation. That a lot of times that's right on the other side of that is where that freaking victory is that you're looking for. Take me back to Little League for a second. When you were in Little League, obviously, especially nowadays with all the TV and so forth and ESPN, Little League World Series, massive freaking thing. Like even now as an adult, I have it on my plans to go to Williamsport, and I just want to watch it. Yeah. Like I love watching it every summer. You know, Little League, whatever, World Series. Did you ever play in it? I know you played probably in all the All-Stars and going into it. Did you ever? How far did you guys, or on a team, make it to the World Series?
I was 1 game and 1 out from the Little League World Series.
Oh my goodness, dude!
So Nevada, we won state. So Little League World Series is for 12 and under, 12 and 11 and 12. So Nevada, we won state.
Okay.
We go to the Western Regionals in San Bernardino.
Okay.
Unbelievable experience playing in front of 2,000 people. And when we played SoCal.
12 years old.
Yeah. When we played SoCal, man, I remember making an error and the place roared. You know, like, and that was the first
cheering
time
for it.
Against it, because it was SoCal that we were playing and it was in San Bernardino.
Gotcha.
So they were rooting for, you know what I mean? But like, it was just a great experience. And I was pitching in the semi. So every championship game of Western Regionals was on ESPN.
Okay.
I was in the last inning. We were up 2-1. I was pitching a great game. Guy hits a bomb. Boom. Ties it up. I think I threw one more inning, and then I get pulled. We end up losing like 3-2, and that was it, man. But I needed 2 outs, and we would have been playing on ESPN to go to Williamsport. So, yeah. But that was a great experience, man. Probably the best youth experience I ever had.
That's as close you got. You were basically, what did you say, 1 out away?
1 out and 1 game away from Williamsport.
Williamsport. I want to ask you about that thing right there you just talked about. I want to talk about sports and almost a little bit of politics here to a certain degree. But you talk about sports, you talk about pitching that, you talk about giving up that home run.
Yeah.
You talk about not losing that massive game at that point in your life, the biggest game you've ever played in. Probably everyone that Philly was the biggest game they ever played in.
Yeah.
Go through this massive freaking loss that, you know, you've probably ever replayed uncountless times in your head. What was it like going through that loss at 12 years old? In the sense of, what I mean by that is like, I find that in sports with athletes, in the losses is where they create so much more success.
Yeah.
Right? That's where I'm kind of going with this concept
right
here.
Yeah.
Like, tell me about that loss and the success that came from that loss.
Well, it was so long ago that one was hard to directly relate to how I jumped out of it.
Totally
but
the concept
of it, I can relate it to this. I've told you about getting the call for my major league debut, right?
Yeah.
And mind you, that was 7 years, and I went on a mission. So I was already 21 when I started, so I was older. Then I grinded for 7 years, and then all of a sudden I'm making my major league debut, and it's supposed to be like this grand thing. Everybody's flying in, friends, family, and everybody's super excited, you know, because like here it is, like he's worked his tail off to get here. And I thought that my debut would be an amazing event, and it was the worst day, probably one of the worst days of my life, because here I am in front of 50,000 people, and I'm facing the New York Yankees, and I'm just not focused. I'm just distracted, you know?
Yeah.
And I'm focused for a couple pitches, but once one bad thing happened, it was like snowball effect. Before you knew it, 4 runs later,
Oh,
and I left with a broken toe. I broke my toe. Didi Gregorius hit and actually that's one of the best things that has ever happened to me. I'll explain that next. But I left that game feeling devastated. I left that game wondering if I could pitch at that level. I left the game anxious. I remember trying to go to sleep at night, just kind of,
Sure.
anxiety. And, that hug with the family wasn't the same. It's just, they were all bummed. They were all deflated. You know what I mean? They loved me, but they were sad too,
Sure.
And I honestly was so shook to the core whether or not I can go back and produce and be successful that like the next day I kind of got like lucked out in a sense because I wobbled into the locker room and they're like, what's going on? I go, well, the comebacker that hit me. And I said, I was like, oh, that's no big deal. And they go, no, you need to go get that checked out. Well, I got it checked out. My toe was broken, and mind you, I'd been making $8,000 a year for the last 7 years,
Uh-huh.
$7,000 to $8,000. All of a sudden, now I'm on the major league roster. I stayed on the roster for the rest of that season, on the DL,
Okay.
right? And I was able to make that major league salary that set us up for being able to just get out of all the debt. Not that we had debt,
No,
but
I get it.
my point is, there's a big blessing that came out of it. But to answer your original question, I'm getting very long-winded. I'm sorry.
No, you're good.
I just feel it was a huge turning point for me because I learned what it took mentally to be successful in the major leagues.
Yeah.
I worked with a mental coach about being present and all that kind of stuff, and it changed everything for me, slowing down. And I told myself, those guys didn't beat me that day like I beat myself, and I'm never going to let that happen again.
Yeah, it's amazing because on the political side, I was going to talk about is like now you see in today's, let's say, sports, there's this massive wave going on of even if you lose, you still get trophies.
Yeah.
The participation trophies, whatever it is. And to me, I just have and I don't have kids, so I have of course, a biased opinion, and everybody can tell me that I'm wrong. I just have a massive problem with it.
Yeah.
From the standpoint of in life, you do not always win. A lot of life is about losing, actually, right? And when you go into business, bro, losing is a daily thing.
Yeah.
Like a lot of times, like I could probably go through today of losses that I've just have had, and I think that so much the sports world though, when you lose, you can be a winner in a loss if you understand how to lose the right way. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And I think a lot of times when we don't allow the kids to actually go through the loss and go through the building process of
100%.
the emotional side of it, dude, there are tears. You should cry.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. My guess is if you went back to that Little League game, my guess is your probably whole team was crying.
Oh, yeah.
Through that
Oh,
loss.
yeah.
But when it doesn't matter, you're gonna get a trophy no matter what. It's like, well, we're not gonna cry. We just got a trophy, right?
Yeah.
And there's this thing that I think is missing of like the emotional side, the physical side of it, the mental side especially,
Yeah.
of going through a loss.
Yeah.
And that's where I was going to go. On like the political side is like when you don't get to experience that loss, I think it sets you up for a lot of problems in the future, man.
Yeah, I mean, it's that's what makes you stronger, right?
Exactly.
It's like anybody that's just, if you go through a tough breakup or you lose somebody, like, and you're going through the pain, you got to let yourself go through that pain because that's what's going to make you stronger. Sometimes like people go to alcohol or they go towards this or all this stuff to camouflage the pain, but they never, so that they don't have to go through that process.
Right.
Because they don't want to go through that process.
Yeah.
But you have to go through that process to get better and stronger, and and so that's a big thing. That's a big thing to anybody, and that's honestly, I take a lot of pride in the fact that I'm not afraid to put myself into situations to fail. And I failed in front of a lot of people on multiple occasions, but you know what? Like, I don't want to get used to failing in the sense of it's just who I know, but like, because I'm going to have a lot more successes in that, but like, I take pride in not being soft.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
For
and
sure.
what happens is when you give kids trophies, they get soft.
Yeah.
And I think there's too much of that going
There's
on.
definitely too much of it, and I think that the amount of value you learn from a loss is irreplaceable.
Yeah.
Like, you find any successful business owners, I interview businessmen and women all the time, athletes all the time. When you find any that are successful, they have no problem talking to you about their failures.
Yeah.
Because that's where they learned so much what they know right now.
Yeah.
So much of what has like formed them into being who they are literally came out of their losses.
Yeah.
It's in the losses where you take a step back and really start dissecting stuff and pulling stuff apart to figure out what went wrong and what went right. When you find, in my opinion, you find great successful people is when they will even, in the win, find the failures.
Yeah.
Which is a whole nother level.
Yeah.
Right? It's one thing to find the things that you need to fix in a loss. That's tough. But then when you find the next group of people that even when they win, they go back and say, okay, let's break it all apart. Let's look at what we did horrible, and we're going to fix all those things right now.
Yeah.
And it's like, dude, even the wins, you talk about the failures, right?
Yeah.
I just think there's a lot of that's missing right now in the youth that just can't experience those losses.
Yeah, and there's
like
there's a way to deal with loss too. Like if I know you're a big UFC fan, like
Yeah.
Conor McGregor,
Yep.
right? He talks a lot of smack, but when he loses, I actually have a lot of respect for the way that he handles himself after a loss because
Think about it, man.
he's like, you know what, he did this, but he always like, he has a reason why maybe he did that. So he's empowering himself, like, hey, like, well, I didn't do this or I didn't do that. I could have been better. So he realizes like it's not like, oh, I'm just not good enough. It's, oh, I could have made adjustments. And anyways, I think that's.
I totally agree. You ever watch Conor McGregor win? It's incredible. You watch him lose, and I think if you're like an athlete and you start seeing stuff, like you pick up on really quick, dude, that guy loses completely gracefully.
Yeah.
Doesn't try to take the credit away from his opponent, and just picks his own game apart. Like doesn't blame it on anything else except for himself, basically. Like I could have made this change, I could have made this thing, I should have done this. And it's amazing because he only lost a couple times, and of course going into it, there's all the hype that he does, right, which is part of who he is. And I was so interested to see on his first loss. I think, if I'm not mistaken, was Diaz. I think it was his first loss that he had. And then they did a round 2. He won fight 2, and then I think they did a rubber match, and he won the rubber match too.
Yeah, he only lost to Diaz, Khabib, and then
recently to Poirier. But in all those, but I remember watching Diaz, and in that fight, like, dude, that was a crazy one, and he lost as beautifully as he won. Yeah, like how he was.
He was the bigger man.
And I think there's that piece that needs to be taught there. I want to go through. You went on a mission for your church when you were 18, 19.
Yeah.
Years old, right?
19. Yeah.
So I'm going to go through this with you here for a second, because I have some questions here that, and maybe the audience are one of the same things. Here you are, like baseball. Like at this point, you're junior in high school, senior in high school. It is now become in part of who you are on a day-by-day basis. It is, you wake up and eat, sleep, and drink baseball, right? You're at that point. My guess is you're starting to play with wooden bats now, and because you know it's coming down the pipeline. And I don't know if you ever went to those wooden bat tournaments they used to put on. Yeah. And it's so fun to play in the wooden bat tournaments. Except for you lost all your power, and you really realize, oh crap, I'm not even close to being good. But you're going through that phase right there, right? And then when most of your, let's say, buddies and friends and so forth, you played at a massive freaking high school that's like a recruiting central, right? And they're all going to college, and then here you say, no, I'm not going to go to college. I'm not going to play ball right now. I'm going to take 2 years off of no ball. Yeah. And I'm going to go on a mission. Yeah. I want to walk through that. Like what was that like, when you're in that moment of 18, 19, did you go through the points of regretting, or not regretting it, but like at the moment when it's about to take place, like, oh crap, should I really I had this gift, should I really keep pursuing it? What was those thoughts like?
You know, out of high school, my plan was to get drafted. I got drafted, but I didn't go as high as I wanted to.
In the draft?
And I probably would have signed had I gotten drafted high enough. Okay. And that's why I went to CSN for 1 year after high school, because I knew that I didn't have to be committed for 3 years. Okay. What is CSN? Is a junior college.
Okay, just junior.
CSN, yeah. So College of Southern Nevada. That's where Bryce Harper played. When he got drafted.
So you said JUCO. You went to
JUCO
I
went to JUCO just for 1 year, just to up my stock, get drafted. And during that time, just like a series of events happened where I just, like, everything was just leaning towards like, hey, you really consider going on a mission. And then it became, I need to go on a mission. And I'm not here to tell any young kid or any girl what they should or shouldn't do with in pertaining to that, because that's all individual. But I just knew at that time, like, I knew I wouldn't regret going, and even if I never played Major League Baseball, I knew that, like, hey, you can never go wrong by choosing that route first, right?
Okay.
But I thought maybe in my life, I just felt like if I denied what I felt like was something I should do, maybe I would regret that,
Okay.
right? And so I ended up just going, man, and that was that was a hard 2 years, man. It was really, really hard, you know, being away from my family, my girlfriend, just being away from the game, and
Because on those 2 years, did you get to play ball at all?
not really. I
Yeah.
mean, everybody has an idea that they're gonna stay in shape, but when you're grinding, like, it's just a long
Oh, it's-
day.
Yeah, yeah.
And then I wake up and I'm like, yeah, it's just you have zero desire
Right.
to work out real hard. At least I didn't. You know, I just wanted to, you know. Anyways, no. So I didn't throw that much, and it took some time once I got back from my mission to get that strength back. Took probably 2 full years after my mission to get the full strength.
Yeah.
But I know that for me that was the right thing to do at that time for sure.
Right. Let me ask you this. Let's go to the next step then.
Yeah.
Now you go on to professional ball.
Yeah.
You're in the minors. You're in the majors. You've been in there for. You've been in professional for how long now?
10 and 11 years now.
11 years
Yeah.
now playing professional ball, right? How has religion and ball
Yeah.
mixed together for you? And what I mean by that is in the dugouts,
Sure.
in the bus rides, the plane rides, all that stuff. Like tie
Yeah.
that in for us from like
Well,
an insider's perspective.
Yeah, yeah. I get questions, you know, about my faith.
Sure.
But I think what people realize sometimes, I went into one Bible study, and it was, you know, they call it baseball chapel.
Okay.
It's just Christian chapel.
Do the teams put that on? Or
Yeah,
is that,
it's like an MLB wide
Okay.
type thing.
Where they
So
just
it's like
have it-
you
have
have
it
like
available.
yeah, in every city, minor leagues, major leagues, like they have like a local person come in,
okay.
and they give like a universal message, like
Sure.
a Christian message. And I'm like, I'm Christian. Like, I want to learn, like, get together and
Okay.
do this. It's like my church. I'm not able to go to church back home, you know, because it's during the season, you know,
Sure.
and sometimes it's in the dugout. And I remember being in one, and one of my teammates goes, hey, like, what are you doing here? Like, not being rude at all, but like, seriously, like, hey, I thought you were Mormon.
Uh-huh.
I'm like, dude, well, I'm Christian. We're the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Like,
Uh-huh.
it's in our name, you know? And so stuff like that was cool. It's, oh, I didn't understand that. And I said, look at, like, most of the people in this are all, one may be Catholic, one may be Lutheran, one may be LDS, like, all Christian, you know? And so to answer your question, everybody's been great. I get questions about specifically the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. But I think the coolest thing is, like, just being able to talk and all come together on a common ground. I mean, we believe in most of, if not like the same core principles
Sure.
of most of my people and my teammates, and it's
Do you find that
fun.
most of the athletes, and of course we're talking
Yeah.
about baseball in this world, do you feel like most of the athletes that you travel with, et cetera, on these different teams, have a background or basis foundation of Christianity? Or is it very like, you know, hey, let's just say this 40% are actually atheists
Sure.
on the team? Or what's like the dynamics there on all the
I
teams?
would say that, you know what, it's interesting because it almost seemed like more people as I got to higher levels, like in the major leagues, like, I don't know if it was just because you got older guys with families and now they're trying to get into God more, but there was a lot of them that attended. In the minor leagues, sometimes you'd have half the guys come in. Most of them, I would say, were Christian.
Yeah.
Whether or not they wanted to actually come to a baseball chapel instead of
Sure.
taking BP or whatever, I don't know. But yeah, it's very, very prevalent, and they do a good job, I feel like, you know.
Interesting, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was wondering if like the foundation was kind of at least in the background or the understanding or belief system.
Yeah.
Kind of there. Other question I have for you is like I want to go to your first major league strikeout.
Yeah.
So, dude, again, I'm just like living vicariously through you right here. So, like, you know, you've played your whole life, pitched unlimited amounts of freaking innings, struck out countless amount of batters in your life, but now you're in the major leagues.
Sure.
You're in Toronto Blue Jays at this point, and you're pitching for them. Were you at a home game?
Yeah, so my debut, it was home.
Okay.
In Toronto against the Yankees. That was a game that didn't go well.
Okay.
But yeah, my first strikeout was Aaron Judge, and
Was it in that game still,
In
or a
that
different
game.
game? Okay, so still the same
Yes,
game, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
debut. It was the
Okay.
highlight, and everybody, bless their hearts, "Oh, I love you, struck out Aaron Judge," you know.
That was the one thing they were cheering for. That they had to cheer
and,
for.
You know, talk about positivity. That there it is, right there. And
But that's
I
gotta
s-
be cool because I want to
Yeah.
give you that. I want to go back to that one moment on strike 3.
yeah,
First of all, it's not a regular batter. You're not facing just like Joe Schmo, who's never
Yeah.
played the big leagues again. This is Aaron freaking Judge, 6'7".
yeah, beast.
The honorable judge
Yeah, all
up to
rise.
the plate, right? All rise for the
Yeah.
honorable judge, and Major League All-Star player,
Sure.
crazy player, right? This is your first strikeout. Take us through it. Was it 1, 2, 3? Was it 3 and 1? What was the count? How did you do it? Do you remember?
I don't remember exactly, but I think it was probably 1-2 or something like that. And I threw a changeup.
The
and,
old
yeah,
changeup.
the changeup, man, and he swung right through it. And yeah, it was. I was
So
glad to get out of that inning.
when you struck him out, that first major league strikeout, do you remember it like, holy crap, I just did it?
No,
Or was
becau-
it just like so in the game?
I was bummed about all the runs I had given up. You know,
You were
I
living
know
in the
you. I
past.
know I was living in the past,
Yeah.
and that's why that game was so. Like nothing. I could have struck out the next 5 guys, but I'd given up 3 runs. Right, so like that put a little damper in it a little bit.
To
But
be fair though, you were playing the Yankees.
it was the Yankees. You know.
It was
Yeah.
like that's and
But
back
you got to
then,
realize, I faced all those guys in the minor leagues, like Sanchez, Judge, like all these guys you see that are stars, Bellinger, like all these guys.
Yeah.
I've faced them,
Yeah.
Javi Baez, and so you have success with them in the minor leagues. It's like, well, if I just need to, like, you just got to get rid of the distractions in the major leagues at that point.
Sure.
You know what I mean? You got the best infielders behind you. You got the, catcher that's scouted these guys. So, yeah, I just so I had struck him out before, so it wasn't like anything new. But I think he also has hit a bomb off me in the minors.
Now, in that first debut right there, were you able to get out of the inning?
Yes.
Okay,
It-
so you went in as relief.
Yeah.
But you were able to get out of the inning.
I got out of the inning, and then I went out, and then I thought I was done. And they said, "Hey, you're going back out." I don't think I got out of that one. But, yeah.
Gotcha, man. So
I've had a lot of good innings in the
since
major
then,
leagues.
since
but
we
since
should
then,
not
but-
just talk about that one.
No, that's good. I just want people to know.
One inning there. Well, let's actually talk about it because you actually ended up pitching a partial no hitter
Yeah, correct.
in baseball. What team were you on when you pitched that?
So that was with the Angels.
It was the Angels,
Yeah.
and the other pitcher was
Felix Pena.
Felix Pena.
Yeah.
Now this is a combined no hitter because you pitched X amount of innings, or he pitched. Who started?
Yeah, so I started.
So you
as a
started-
reliever when the reliever starts.
Okay.
Like, it's called an opener.
Okay.
So I started. I threw 2 innings, and then he came in for the final 7.
Okay. So you threw the first 2.
Yeah.
He throws the final 7.
Yeah.
And why did you break me up on the? Did you pitch 2 innings?
Just because my first inning was pretty quick, know,
Okay.
and statistically they have found that like a lot of runs are given up in the first, and like a starting pitcher, every time that they face a lineup for the 3rd time, they don't do as well.
Okay.
So what they're trying to do is eliminate, like squish the innings a little bit. So
Interesting,
like,
yeah.
and they're trying to manipulate the innings. And so yeah, I threw a couple, and that's some of the coaches. Man, you should have stayed out there long. If you're doing well, stay out there. But yeah, just did our job. 1 inning, sometimes it was 2.
So you went in there, pitched 2 innings.
Yeah.
As a relief pitcher, but it was a start of a game.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. So you did inning 1, inning 2, and then he comes in inning 3 and goes through the rest of it. The 9
Yes.
innings there.
Yeah.
And you and him combined for a no hitter.
That's right. Yeah, it was that was the game that we were honoring Tyler Skaggs. So
Yes.
Tyler Skaggs passed away that season. About a week before that.
What position do you?
He was a
play?
pitcher.
Pitcher
and he was
okay.
a great friend of mine. Like just an unbelievable, like leader, like just nice guy and everything. And he passed away during the season on one of our road trips.
Okay.
And so that was the first home game that we had back, and so we were honoring him. We all wore 45 Tyler Skaggs jerseys. And his wife came in the clubhouse before. And so it was a pretty magical moment for us to throw a no-hitter on that same day that we were honoring him.
Yeah, that was crazy.
And it was definitely really, really cool. I was actually, so when I finished, like it's not like Little League where you stay in the dugout. I went up into the tunnel, like into the locker room, and eat a little snack, do your shoulder work, maybe get in the hot tub and cold tub to work to get your inflammation down. This is during the game, by the way. So
sure.
I'm done. I'm done with my.
This
I'm
third,
done.
fourth, fifth inning now.
Third, fourth, fifth inning. I'm done. And then there's like a little nap room that I'm just like in there watching the game, And all of a sudden, like seventh, eighth inning, I'm like, holy smokes, man! There's no hits,
Yeah.
And it's getting like I'm starting to hear the like the vibrations of the stadium,
Yeah.
in that room, and it's like just pitch dark in there. Nobody's in there, and anyways, it got ninth inning comes, and we're getting to 1 out left for the no hitter, and all of a sudden like 2 strikes, and there was a little delay in our screen.
Yeah.
And the stadium just went berserk. 2 seconds later, ground ball,
You see
no
it.
hitter. I run out, walk, and it was just like unbelievable, man. It's the best experience I've ever had on a baseball field.
That's cool, dude. I mean, if a no hitter combined or single, it's a rarity in the great game of baseball, man. I want to ask you one more question here. I want to talk to you about baseball and baseball cards.
Yeah.
Right. So we ripped some cards earlier today. And obviously the card industry is making this big comeback, really a massive comeback into cards right now. You have some knowledge in it. I want to talk about, from a professional standpoint, do a lot of those guys or some of the guys, whatever, do they, collect cards or do they look for their own cards sometimes? How does that world kind of work there?
I haven't seen it much, although Trouty should be collecting his own
He
cards.
should be collecting his own
enough,
cards.
I mean, that guy, he's got enough money as it is. I mean,
I don't think he's hurting, but
no, I don't think he's hurting. But
it's a good investment still.
Good investment, man.
Still a
Let's
good
go.
investment.
Yeah, I mean, think about the Pujols. He's breaking records left and right. Anyways, I know Giannis for the MVP for the Bucks in the NBA.
Yeah.
He has a whole bunch of his rookie cards.
Interesting.
And so players are starting to do that now.
Yeah. LeBron came out and said that he had a couple of his rookie cards.
Yeah, and even Kevin Durant just did a Kobe and him card that Kobe had signed, I think, and he finished signing. And
Wow.
they gifted him one, and so that card's got to be ridiculous.
Who knows? Yeah.
2 of the top, 50 players ever probably right
Oh,
there.
for sure. Yeah.
Kevin Durant, if he's in there. I mean, Kobe is for sure. But,
Yeah, Kobe's for sure. So they're not. You don't see a super prevalent right now of the cards, but you see it starting to pop up more and more now.
Yeah, because we as players, we have everywhere we go. There's people rushing over that are for a living, older guys here, sign this card.
Right, literally for a living.
And we're like, what is it? Come on, But now, as we start to understand the business, and I'm like, actually, I get it now. You know what I mean? There's a lot of money in this. You know what I mean?
A lot of money for guys.
For these guys, and I mean, they have so many cards that they're getting signed. It's crazy. So, but you can understand how that could be frustrating sometimes for the number 1 draft pick that's constantly having to sign the same guy and all that kind of stuff.
He sees him freaking at every spring training game.
Yeah, exactly.
Screaming his name over and over.
Yeah.
And then comes over there and he doesn't want 1 autograph. He wants 35 autographs at one time. That he's going through. I had another question I just thought of. You played on some of these last 2 teams, Blue Jays and Angels, and let's just for a second time talk about Angels. I mean, you got some crazy players on that team, right? Mike Trout, who may end up going down as one of the greatest baseball players of all time.
Yep.
That's ever played the game, right? For all, you talk about all 5 tools and what it can do, and then you got Shohei. On the team, which is a freak, hard to even understand what the guy can do.
Yeah.
It just doesn't make logical sense to how we've been programmed for baseball. So with major leagues, you have a pitcher and then you have a power hitter and then you have infielders. It's they don't all mesh. I know he's an outfielder, but they don't all mesh. And then you've got Pujols on the team.
Yeah.
Right. And just a handful of other guys as well. What is it like playing with those guys?
It's unbelievable.
They're freaks.
Yeah. I mean.
In a good way.
Yeah. I'll start with this. Pujols,
Okay.
for example, right? He's got more time and probably more time in the major leagues than anybody. He's the legend. Probably the biggest, most, how do I put this?
The oldest living
legend. The oldest living
baseball.
legend in baseball. That's
active in baseball.
That's a good way to put it. And he's always been great to me. He's always been amazing, actually. I'm on the bus. I'm one of the last guys to walk on, and everything's kind of filled. Usually that doesn't happen, but this must have been a weird occasion. And a lot of the seats were filled, and there was a rookie, Rengifo,
Okay.
with his bag. So he kind of had an extra bag, and I was like, hey, can I sit with you? You know, because Pujols was like behind him, but he had an open seat. And I was like, I'm not gonna. I'm
So
Rengifo, come
Pujols
on.
is there with the open seat.
No, yeah, but like you don't ask him. He's got more. He's got like we just talked about. You know,
He's
he's
a
a
door.
legend.
Yeah.
You leave him alone. You know.
And then there's a rookie there.
Rookie there
that's
who's got an open seat, but he's got some bags.
bags on it.
And I'm like, hey, Rengifo and Pujols, hey, Taylor, sit with me. And
That's so cool, dude.
and I said, no, man, no, and I'm adamant.
Yeah,
no,
just
no,
be
no,
polite,
no, no,
right?
I'm not going to do
Courteous.
that. No, Rengifo, do you mind, please? Thank you so, you know. Taylor, sit with me. And I sit down, man, and I turn back around, and everybody's just looking at me like, what are you doing? Like, come on. And I'm like, he told me to, you know what I mean? And that whole ride, man, I'll tell you what, you know, we talked about his charity. We talked about like how that may mean more to him than even his playing. Like when he's done, you know what I mean? And what he's willing to do and to help me out and to connect, like unbelievable guy. And I got stories that, you know, everybody wants to hear the Mike Trout stories. You know, I was going through a rough spell, had a bad outing, came up in the clubhouse, and I'm watching video. And he's like, hey, what's going on, Taylor? You know, you good? And I just can't figure out why they keep hitting me right now, you know? And he pulled up a couple videos and looked for me, and he goes, hey, check out those two screens. And one screen was me set up like this. The next screen was like on a changeup, me set up like this.
Oh, wow.
And so I was tipping my pitches, and Trout was able to pick it up like that. And he knew I was like mentally a little struggling, and so he just like went out of his way, you know, to help me out with that. And that kind of stuff happens all the time, man. These people are unbelievable, and I'm gonna, you know, I'm a free agent now, so I'm gonna miss playing with those guys.
Those two guys alone are freaking
Legends.
Hall of Famers, and again, top of the Hall of Famers. Like and obviously the story for Mike Trout is still out of how high he goes. Basically, it's getting crazy. All right, let's talk about the money is for you here. Obviously, we started the show on the money is concept of talking about what money means to you. Obviously, you got a lot different angle from a lot of people because you're in it from a standpoint of Major League Baseball. Mm-hmm. You're around guys like a Pujols, like a Mike Trout, right? And money's at a different level for those players specifically, right? I mean, they're jokingly, let's just say, set for life, and family, if they do it right, are generationally set for life, right? And coming from maybe that perspective a little bit, which we just have never had, what does when you talk about what money means to you, and so you're talking about the Angels, and we have you in a Blue Jays uniform here, but write your answer here, whatever the answer is, 1, 2, 3 words, and then sign it right here. Okay. And then me and you're going to talk about the answer. Let me give you the Sharpie here.
Don't be too surprised by this initially or offended, okay?
Okay. I won't be too offended for it.
Okay.
You got it?
Yeah.
All right, here we go, man. His answer is Taylor Colt. Money is a distraction. Money is a distraction, and that's number 7.
67.
67. I couldn't tell if that was a hashtag or a 6 right there.
67.
Number 67. Money is a distraction. Okay, now I got 2 questions.
Yeah.
I could talk sports with you all day long, but let's do the money one first.
Yeah.
Okay, well, let's go through it. What does it mean? Money is a distraction.
Okay, I know you're probably thinking, what are you talking about, right? No, but for me, it's this, right? Sometimes we go after money first.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Dude,
so
dead on.
I've started a little business here, and that's something that if you go after something with money in mind first and not value, I think of Jeff Bezos, and one of the really old articles or interviews that I listened to him say is that with Amazon, he was just over the top about value. What type of value can I bring to people? And so I think that sometimes we try to put the money first, and it distracts us from the value. And so I think that if we put the value first, and we create a service that is elite, then the money will kind of come natural. And so, and I think that also, it can take you away sometimes. Like if you think of social media, and you think of people that claim to be, what money is sometimes, we sometimes think that it comes quick all of a sudden, or, it means different things. And sometimes, like, if people just went with their heart and what they felt was their true meaning and purpose, like, they go after that, and the money comes, you know, in due time. But I think that sometimes we go after the money and the wrong things because maybe certain stories that we're told through social media or just the media in general.
Sure.
And so when I say it's a distraction, obviously I like money. I want a lot of money. I respect it. Don't get me wrong. But I think that it can be misleading, and we need to focus on value first and let money come second.
No, dude, it is 100%. Is one of the best answers I've heard with the reasoning behind it. I use a terminology, and I may change my word to your word when I teach this philosophy. I always talk about you'll never get money when you're chasing money.
Exactly.
Like, if that's your objection, if that is your goal, is to get money, and you just sit there and try to figure out every possible way of how you can go make money on something, it gets to a point where you'll never end up getting it. You're just chasing a freaking black hole that's in circles.
Exactly.
But if you always lead with value and give first, right? Value and give, value and give. We just had our power room meeting, and the speakers that were up there speaking, both of them like amplified that. Like, dude, we're just here to give value. Like, just let me help you, and whatever I can help you with. It was always value driven, and it's amazing because when you lead with value, number one. There's a thought behind the leading with value is it has to be authentic value.
Exactly.
A lot of times, because things become cliches and people say it a lot, you hear business owners, I'm gonna talk to business owners, but this could be in relationships, it could be in anything, right? But we'll talk about business, that they say these cliche things like lead with value. But if you're not authentic to what you're really saying, do people sniff that out really, really quick?
Yeah.
Just like in baseball, you can tip your glove, and great other players will pick up on it fast.
Yes.
Right. And in business, the same way. Like, if you're tipping your hand, if you will, by not being authentic when you talk about giving value, dude, we can see it very quickly, and it's gonna hurt you really bad. So in the sense of like, money, chasing money, or allowing money to be the distraction of what the real purpose of that business is. You talk about leading with your heart, which is where you're gonna find the value gives constantly, is where you'll find your success as well. In life. So, dude, your answer is very, it's really a deep answer inside of it, because I do believe, especially kind of the generations coming up, and again, I'm even putting myself into that, if you will, it just seems like there's a lot of money hungriness.
And it's all how quick can it happen?
Because we live in this world of social media and YouTube, and something goes viral, and the next thing you know, you're signed by some freaking American Idol, and you're now on TV, and you're like, it happens like that. In reality, dude, that's so unnatural.
Yeah.
It's so unreal. It's like winning a lottery. Like it's a lightning in a bottle, and it's like people now are chasing lightning in a bottle with their lives, because they want this like fame, fortune, and money, and they see it different from the past. Because even in the past, you know, you take Hollywood, you had to work your way all the way up through that process to become an A-lister.
Yeah.
To make that big money. But now it's like, dude, younger generation are chasing, and then the risky part, some of them will go down some really crazy roads of dares and stupidity stunts to try to get famous.
Yeah.
And it's actually kind of scary, dude.
Yeah.
But yeah, I totally agree, man. Money is definitely a distraction. And you can be distracted by it and ruin, really, almost like a drug.
Yeah.
I've used the definition that money can be a drug many times. Just like drugs are addictive, and you can get hooked on it, and it's all that you can freaking live for. Like, your world revolves around that stuff. And money can be the exact same way, a drug that's addicting that you have to have.
Yeah.
And if you find yourself there, man, you're in a bad spot, dude.
Exactly.
Because there are way more important things in this life than money.
Yeah.
That you can do way better things with.
Yeah.
Than just chasing a dollar bill.
Yeah.
In that, I got one final question for you, because your number. Like, numbers always mean something most of the time.
Yeah.
And you were number 67. Where did it come from?
I'm assuming it's the number. So when I got called up to the Angels the first time, was the number that they gave me.
Okay, I was about to say, normally you probably didn't choose 67 in high school.
Yeah.
When you're
I was number 8.
8,
so
okay.
6, 7, 8. There you go.
There you go, okay.
But no, 6, 7, it was just the number they gave me, and I had a really good year in 2018 when I first felt like I could pitch in the big leagues and pitched really well, and I was like, in 2019, of course I'm going to keep the same number.
Sure. There's
and
so
it's
many.
funny, I just thought, Oh, go ahead. There's so many other ones. Single
No,
digits.
there's so many in baseball. It's probably one of the sports that has the most amount of like superstition, I think, sometimes.
Yeah.
Of like what you do as a pitcher on the mound, whether it be toe tapping or like the routines that batters,
Exactly.
hitters, pitchers, infielders will get into. And there's so much superstition, as in, if I had a good year at 67, yeah, I'd be
And
keeping 67.
I've signed 1 million autographs at 67.
Yeah.
And why not keep it that way? And I saw an article recently, literally within the last 6 months, and it said the best Angel players by number. And I was listed for number 67.
That's true. You'll be on all the lists.
So they're like, yep, he's part of the no-hitter, and is one of the. It might have even said he was the only guy to wear a 67 or
Doesn't
something
matter.
like that. But hey,
You
good
own
business
number
move, right?
67,
There you go.
dude. That's
Actually,
awesome.
there's a guy in spring training wearing number 67. I'm coming for you, man.
And
the Angels, I heard.
Dude, I didn't even freaking talk about this, and it's 100% my fault. But I feel like we're gonna do a lot more interviews with AC Sports and cards and some other stuff. But
It's all good.
I just want to at least talk about just really quick. You got Strut Academy,
Yeah.
which I probably say it all the time on baseball because we don't always get to interview major league players. But you have Strut Academy, which you created,
Yeah.
which is online training
Correct.
for pitching, hitting, fielding, etc.
Yep.
From an active Major League Baseball player.
Correct.
With other active Major League Baseball players.
Correct.
That you're bringing in to help train and so forth. And you built it off of a monthly membership.
Correct.
There's gyms all over the place in every town that are training warehouses, etc.
Yeah.
But you kind of took a different approach into it, and you went all online on a very inexpensive monthly membership.
Yes.
Where they also get to ask questions, live questions.
Yeah.
Which I think is a very unique part of it. Think about that. I mean, as a kid, I would have loved to have been on a live call with Major League Baseball players.
Yeah, I know.
Asking them freaking questions about my hitting and what I should tweak or change, or
Exactly.
my approach, whatever it is, like what they would throw in this situation. It's some really, really cool ideas you got going there, and I know it's growing and developing as well. If they want to know more about your business, Strut Academy, even A, they want to get their kids to look at it, or B, just talk to you about what you got going on there, where's the best place for them to find you for Strut Academy?
Yeah, just www.strutacademy.com.
So you got the website,
Got
Strut Academy?
Strutacademy.com. I'm on Instagram, Strut Academy, and then obviously and Facebook, of course. And then my personal is Taylor Cole, Tay Cole.
Yeah, you have the middle initial in it on your personal Instagram.
Correct.
Which one are you more likely to DM someone back on?
Both.
Both?
Yeah.
You'll do both.
I'll do both, man. And
So Taylor J. Cole, we've been DMing back and forth for
Yeah,
a while
exactly.
now. So I know you do it on that one because you DM me on that one.
Yeah.
So Taylor J. Cole is
Tay
your,
J. Cole, yeah.
Tay J.
Yeah.
Tay J. Cole is your personal Instagram, and you have your Strut Academy Instagram, Facebook as well,
Correct.
and of course website,
Correct.
strutacademy.com.
Strutacademy.com.
And then you got some cool plans on that, which is probably a little bit of a better show for AC Sports anyways, because those are going to be all sports fans
Yeah.
that we can talk about and push some people to you as well. But look, Taylor, man, I love you being on the show. I love living vicariously through you. I swear to God, if Coach would have put me in, dude, like the roles would be reversed
I need
right
some
now.
more tips, man.
The roles
I'm
would
going
be
to keep coming
reversed.
back just for those.
I'm going to show you my circle change up here.
There we go.
And on that note, what kind of change up do you throw?
It's a two-seam.
It's a
It's a
two-seam
circle.
real-
It's a
It's a
two-seam
two-seam circle,
yeah.
that you throw there. I want to see your grip, man.
Yeah.
And I got some baseballs in there. You saw them. I want to see your grips on your baseballs that you throw there.
Sounds good, man.
And then you got to come back.
Yeah.
Be part of the power room. Come back and be AC Sports, and we can rip some more cards. Maybe give
I
away
was
some.
good luck today, man.
Dude, you were pulling some
I mean,
heat.
I got an auto.
You were pulling some
rookie.
two
I got
Two autos.
two autos.
Two autos out of boxes that don't come with autos, meaning
Yeah.
they're not guaranteed auto boxes.
Exactly.
You pulled two autos, bro.
You need me-
so we
yeah.
probably need to go pull some more heat while you got the hot hand. You know how it is in pitching. If
Exactly,
you're hot, you gotta
man.
stay
Keep
with
me
it,
in. Let's
bro.
go.
Stay with. Don't
Keep
pull
it
me
going.
now, Coach.
Exactly.
Taylor, I love being on the show, man. I look forward to
Thanks
doing
for
more with
having
you. You guys watching? Make sure you guys follow Taylor Cole at Tay J. Cole, and also check out Strut Academy, where you can teach your little boys and girls how to play baseball the right way with active Major League Baseball players. We'll see you guys next week on the Money Is Show.